What goes into making these projects from bare dirt, renovated to a resort-style garden like we like to do? Today is going to be about a day in the life of a landscape designer, or at least this landscape designer. So you guys get to see that it's not just about the digging the hole, the watering things in and putting the trees in, but just kind of the thoughts that go on behind the scenes. Happy Monday morning, and let's get started. We're going to head to the job sites where I'm going to go meet my guys and kind of just walk through the project and kind of get things set up and started. Let's get going. All right, you guys, so we have arrived at the job site. We are here in Vero Beach, Florida, Zone 10A. We are going to set up the job now, one of the most important parts of my day. So this is where I'm gonna take my stakes, I'm gonna take the paint, I'm gonna kind of mark out the entire job for the guys to start with the prep work, start with the removal. Those of you guys who are loving this kind of content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I have noticed that so many of you guys who keep revisiting back with me have not yet subscribed. So if you love it, subscribe. We have the frame trees in. Now we're going to go see what it looks like from inside. Then I can set the rest of the trees off of the frame trees, which are the most important trees in the whole design. So this is a real important part of the process. A lot of times you can set up from outside in that space, but really the true final look of everything is from inside, because it is amazing how different it can look from when you're sitting out there. Everything can eye up and it can line up perfectly, but then you get inside this seating area and you're looking at it from this angle, which is the most important angle, and it looks a little off. And I always kind of do it right from when you walk out to the garden. So center of the doors, if you guys have back patio doors, the center area of that, you kind of want to see what those angles look like. So over here in this corner, we're dead center in the middle, and I'm really, really happy with this feel, this look. But then now you come over here, this grouping of 3 stakes. But you can see how off that middle stake, when I'm looking at it outdoors, that middle stake is on that middle post. It's way off, so I need to shift that whole bed to the right. That's why you always want to come inside and make sure that you're looking at the island, you're looking at the location of the trees from the most important part, which is where you're at. You want to make sure the most important seating sections are accounted for.
What about on the inside?
We are done. Trees are set. This is what the preliminary looks like. All of these posts that are here with tags on them represent our trees to be installed. So we can make sure that we're happy with placement of everything, as easy as picking up a stake and moving it 6 inches to the left or 6 inches to the right. This is the corner planting grouping here. So let's envision this. So in this particular bed, right directly behind me in this corner is going to be a double foxtail palm. It's gonna pop up nice size back here. Directly to the front is going to be a triple bottle palm. So this is going to be tall and slender. This is going to be short and chunky. And then right on either side here and here is going to be the triple Christmas palms that came from the builder's package. So we're going to utilize them back into this bed. And then envision the privacy as it pops in. So back here, these poles represent fishtail palms. So a nice backdrop of fishtail palms on this side and a nice backdrop of fishtail palms on the opposite side along the fenced area there. That means bye-bye neighbors. That means it's really going to have nice and a peaceful space, especially if the neighbor next door is going to have a pool area. This is the design process. This is exactly what I went through and discussed with my clients. We went through photos, we went through images, we talked about sight lines. We did all of this in preparation for today, for this week, so that way my clients can get a good visual of everything that's in the space. I will pop in the rendering right here so you can kind of see exactly what we're working off of, what the new landscape's going to look like. All right, you guys, so we are here. We're at one of the nurseries that we're picking material up for the job that we are on today. And it's one of my favorite parts. And it's probably one thing that I would say that's crucially important. If you guys are working with a landscape designer or a landscape contractor, make sure that they are actually tagging your material. They're going to the nursery and they're picking that up. They're gonna make sure they pick the prettiest plant in a batch, the prettiest tree in a batch. You know, it's just like going Christmas tree shopping. You're looking for the right tree for the right place and making sure it's turned. It looks just stunning in all directions. What I have imagined, you know, I wanna make sure that I have a real thick grouping on one side and a little bit more of an angular narrow in another section. So when I'm looking for plants and trees, I'm kind of trying to match the puzzle pieces to go into the spaces that I'm looking for. My clients will say to me, oh my goodness, I had no idea that you were gonna be on the job site. I had no idea that you're gonna be setting the poles. I had no idea that you're gonna be out there marking paint for the guys to do the actual install. You wanna find a company who's going to either be on site to make sure that vision comes to life for you. You wanna make sure that they have a good team behind them so that the job goes seamlessly. And then you wanna make sure that you have a person tagging your material, making sure that you're getting the best in the crop. So that way everything pulls together and you get not just what you pay for, but you get that dream garden that you're looking for. Those are just some tips that I would be looking for if I were looking for a contractor for my space. All right, so this, yes. This, no. All right, you guys, so we are back in our office. I just finished up a virtual consult. It was fabulous. I got to speak with Chris, kind of walk through his front yard designs. He had one general angle that he was very, very focused on wanting to create something with some impact there. He had a tree that died, so he wanted to replace it with something that had some oomph. What we talked about was creating a clean line landscape. It was one image he wanted to look at, one actual location, so I was actually able to take that, superimpose it into my program during our hour meeting and overlay the plants and trees and the landscape into that space. So as we were talking, we were adding it in, so he got a good visual of what that looks like. This is the area in question here that he has some concerns over. You can see there is a big empty hole here where a previous Canary Island date palm had died. Had a nice pygmy date palm in this corner and a foxtail palm over here. So what was missing is right here in this spot to have some impact. Now we couldn't do it in this area because of some underground pipes and a propane tank. So we brought the bed forward down into this area, and that's what we're gonna look at now. And then Chris loved the idea of complementing the foxtail to the back with 3 additional foxtails to the front, creating a nice big tropical island. Very clean line, but definitely has some vertical impacts. So we have the foxtail palms here that are gonna get a great size, 3 pygmy date palms underneath that are gonna give him the coverage he kind of wants. He just, all this glass and windows and everything that's here for a very busy street, he wanted some kind of, a little bit of privacy, a little bit of coverage from all of that. So this is going to do a great job of offering a kind of a palm frondy type of wall and kind of like a nice floating island in this front area. We brought in some false agaves to give it some accents, a little bit of Fakahatchee grass on the corner to soften it, and you guys can see the mix of crotons and ixoras and very nice, soft, clean mix at the bottom. He is going to move forward. He's going to pick up this material and install it, and it's going to be a nice island that he's able to take away. And this was all done in today's virtual consult. What I love the most about this whole thing is I do get to share my expertise of all of these years being in business, you know, but I also get to share with my mistakes. You know, it's like we've all been there. There's always an issue with a propane tank in the wrong spot, or a septic system that you're dealing with, or whatever it might be that just really might be troubling you about your particular area of this garden. And it might not be an area that you need to have some big master plan or have an architect or a designer come and take a look at this space. It just might be that little problem child, that little problem corner in your garden. So it's just been a fun thing to do face to face. We're going to get into the last phase of our day, which is the planning section. And that is where Bryce comes in. We have made it to the end of our day. This is the time where it gets down to the brass tacks, where it gets really, really serious. This is important stuff right now. This is where the plans come together. Bryce gathers all the information for our landscape design. So I am on site for our landscape design and installation. Bryce handles all the collection of the information for our design only service. He meets with the client in person. He video records the conversation, all of the questions that he knows to ask about the specific space. All of that's being recorded. We'll review those recordings, we'll review the discussion, and then I prepare the renderings for the space. I lay everything out after gathering all that information and then pass that over to him, and he does the detailed stuff.
So just like Mom said, this is her doing, this is mine. I always say that this is the visual and then this is the actually scaled up version. And I try to make it a map. So it's just pretty much easy to follow as possible. And what I have is the common name with the amount and then a little call out that goes right to it. If you want to hand this to your installer or you wanted to do it yourself, it's pretty easy to follow. And I also have a little legend right here where it has the common name, the quantity, and the size, or if it's already existing in the property. When I first met with Eugene, he was really wanting a tropical vibe, and I feel like we accomplished that for him. She literally filled up everything in his backyard. It was clear that he wanted no grass, and I think she accomplished that pretty well. And after she's done with both of these renderings, all it is my job to translate this onto a map.
So I guess you guys can see what a joint effort this is. We fine tune what we need to. We really play really well off of each other. And I think that's probably one of the best parts of my job is that I get to work with my family. If it's not Bryce, it's chit-chatting with Marissa about this or that. And of course, my husband is on the job site. So we have plenty of that unified little group that we have together. And I hope you guys enjoy just kind of seeing what we go through in a day. Now, is there some drama sometimes? Absolutely. Sometimes we'll hit a pipe, or sometimes we'll hit a cable line or something like that where it's like, been doing this so long that we've kind of worked the kinks out. And then now I'm sharing it with a new generation coming in. He's fabulous at the CADs. He really lays it out. And I love how he goes through with our clients and just shares with them with the ruler and say, okay, this is exactly how to set this up and line this up. Just like if they were a landscaper doing it for 20 years, we give everybody a care schedule. So all the plants and trees that we install, we leave our clients with a complete list of a picture of the plant with a paragraph or two of how to take care of it, how to maintain it, when to trim it, when to fertilize it. And that goes with the installations and with our design service too, because I think that that's a big part that kind of gets missed. Everything will be so good and so easy the first year, and then we get a drought, or then we get too much rain, and things might have some issues, and there's some questions on, okay, what do I do in this situation, or what do I do in that? So giving as much insight as possible, I think, has been huge. Bryce has added in even more of that with the CADs.
Try to be as helpful as possible.
Yeah, because it does. It's all about getting our clients from point A to point B, and that is a beautiful garden. And so whatever way that we can do that with as much information as we can gather and give. I hope you guys enjoyed watching today's video and seeing a life in the day here with us, and kind of what happens behind the scenes, what goes into it. It's a little bit more than digging the hole and planting the tree.
A little bit.
Yeah. Creating something every single day and making people happy. I think we'll be doing this forever.
If there's any career that you can do, make sure you have something where you're leaving whoever you're working with is happy.
Yeah. If you enjoyed today's video, then you may enjoy last weekend's video, which is how to make your garden look like $1 million. So check that out. We'll be sure to put that over here right to my side. And yes, a nice big box there. All right, you guys, this has been so much fun. Take care. I'll see you next weekend.
Cool.